with that. Can I remind you that you too have been called to something distinct and unique? No matter how mundane or small your life might feel right now, you have been invited into the plan and the story of God. And the truth is you can carry what God has asked you to carry. Like if God calls you to something, right, it would make sense that he would give you the ability to carry it. And you might be susceptible to thinking that you actually can and are intended to do it on your own. I love this. We see in verse 11, it says, as long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning. Seems like a pretty easy recipe for war. Imagine him holding up his staff and seeing victory taking place out in front of him. He knew just what to do to be successful. And I bet you do too. I bet you know exactly what to do to be successful in the thing that you have been entrusted with in this season of your life. I bet you have a plan and a strategy. Come on, any goal setters I bet you've set goals. You've got rhythms in your life. You know just what to do. And in fact, when things don't go well, I bet you know exactly why. You can plot your failures. You can understand how to change it for the future and shift it for the better. As long as he held up his hands, the Israelites were winning. But whenever he lowered his hands, they started losing. So why would he lower his hands? Like, just keep them up there. Easy. Victory is yours. Why would he lower his hands? Because bad theology lies to us and tells us that we can do it all on our own. But can I tell you something? That you can do it on your own until you can't. See, everyone has an individual calling. Everyone has something to carry, but it was never intended to be carried and taken on by yourself. You can do it until you can't. The problem with solo faith, the problem with it's just me and Jesus, you fall for the lie and you realize that it works until it doesn't. It works until it doesn't. It says, when his hands grew tired. This is verse 12. We have verse 12. I didn't bother to write it down. Here we go. When Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held his hands up, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunset. It wasn't if his hands got tired, it was when his hands got tired. Can I encourage you that if you have been given something by God, it is something of value, but it's not if you will get tired, it is when you will get tired. Anything significant, normal, mundane is worth you holding on to and continuing to carry, because guess what? Weariness is on the way. Why did Moses not just hold his hands up the whole time so they could win? Because he's human, because he's weak, because he needed somebody to step in. Ready? This point is gonna blow your mind. You need people, period. With an exclamation point. Not gonna win any creative writing awards. I doubt anyone will tweet it, and that is just fine. But the truth is that we wrestle that thought right out of the gate. You need people, but it's not a good season. You need people, but it's messy. You need people, but you're actually doing pretty good on your own. You need people, but no, you need people, period. You need people. Moses was called by God to lead an entire nation, and he needed people. Could I remind you that people also need you? You need people to prop up your promise, but you also need some people to serve in their season. You need that, because the only way that God's call on your life is fully realized is through people, through engaging with people, through serving people, through taking the kingdom to other people. Come on, is anybody grateful that we have the church, that we're invited into the plan of God, that we all have a part to play? People need If we take on this thought that it's just me and Jesus, we never engage in community. We get a small view of what our role to play is. We convince ourselves that I'm just gonna let people down anyways. We convince ourselves that, who am I? No one needs my voice in their life. What do I have to offer? It's just me and Jesus rid you of the responsibility of empathy and encounter with the people that God has called you to serve that need you the most. And this is in direct opposition to the gospel of Jesus. This directly opposes the part that we're all called to play. We say we exist as a church to help people know God, live on purpose, and change the world. Guess what? We change nothing if it's just me and Jesus. Because I have eliminated, you know what the world is bankrupt of? Encouragement and empathy. Every single one of us can get that for free. We can give that for free. You can invite God to do something in you, and I promise you, he will use you in somebody's story.